Hello everyone, it's Chocolate here, and I finally released my revamped and reworked gear recommendations and the update for 13.3. If you just want the update for 13.3, my comments on that, and you can go to the timestamp in the description or look for the chapter in the YouTube video, because for now I'm going to talk about the guide, how to use it, the updates I've made, and kind of give a shorter overview than I've done in the user guide here, which is just words. So let's start right off. If you maybe noticed, I've added UE to the guide. Despite my resistance, I've noticed it's just necessary and good, and I've also done it in a tier list type of style for PvP and UE. CB still has descriptors rather than just letter ratings. So yeah, PvP now split between attack and defense, because that's an important split, which some people don't seem to realize for Moemi, who just use her on defense despite being easily exploitable. And yeah, UE is split between the unlock and the leveling. So unlock mainly the effect, and leveling mainly the stats on the UE. And obviously the power level of the unit also plays into it, because even, for example, with Hiyori here, she's not really used anymore unless you're really coping on units. So her uncap rating is only S, because despite having the same stats as, for example, Makoto or Kaori, who both have the exact same stats but are just a lot better units and actually CUs, so they are at the regular rank, and Hiyori gets a demerit, so she's one tier below that on her uncap rating. So that's one part. Also, you might notice a lot of these are triple S and double S and S tier ratings, and that's just because a lot of the units are good and you need a lot of units to round out your roster. So it's kind of inappropriate, I think, to have S tier be the highest and have many units who are actually quite good and necessary for PvP or CB kind of in the B, C or D tier, which kind of makes them seem like they're useless, which they totally aren't, and if you don't build them, you'll suffer the consequences. So yeah, that's the reason why there's so many high ratings in here, and also why the tiers extend to triple S, etc. And it totally isn't just because I think it looks cool. So other than that, stars are pretty much the same as usual. It's just between which star is the optimal. So if it's between 3 and 5, for example, it means there's reasons to use 3 and reasons to use 5. Not that she starts being useful at 3 and is optimal at 5 or something like that. Also, if the star recommendation is red, that means there's a difference between what the unit needs for PvP and what she needs for CB. In this case, for Ruka, she generally wants 3-star for CB at the moment still, and 5-star for PvP. Kind of a difference here. Makoto, for example, sometimes wants 4-star and almost all the time wants 5-star, and there's not really much difference here between CB and PvP, or rather PvP always wants 5-star, but this difference isn't between PvP and CB, this is just within CBUs itself. Same with New Hiyori here. Also, kind of on popular demand, I've added a kind of shard use order or investment guide for those who are missing unit shards like CN guides have. So for example, for Tomo, which I assume most people don't actually have 5-star with UE 130 shards ready. This is kind of for those situations where you're farming a unit from scratch and you kind of have to decide whether to star her up or unlock UE or uncap UE, and in which order. So this is mainly based on personal opinion and sometimes just copied over, because most of the time it doesn't really matter, but in some cases it's useful to have. For gear, there's been slight changes. For example, all gold ranks, so rank 10 and below are going to be marked in yellow. Some of the higher purple ranks are going to get their own color. Hopefully I can get together enough to kind of mark all the ranks units are going to be at permanently before we finally get into the rank 15 and 16, etc., where some ranks just won't show up at all anymore, so I can just use one rank or one color for the highest rank always and dedicated colors for all the others. So yeah, let's take a look at how the format is now. So most units are just X-Y, with X denoting the rank and Y the number of pieces. If there are multiple possible builds, there's this vertical bar instead of a point that I've used before, with Z after that, and Z being the maximum number of pieces that should be equipped. So X-Y vertical bar Z. And if we have a look what that means, because I think that's much easier to understand in that case, for, let's take for example, Makoto. For her rank 9 builds, there's rank 9-5 vertical bar 6, so that means she should always have these 5 pieces of gear equipped at rank 9, and the mid left piece can either be left off or equipped depending on what is needed for any particular timeline. However, obviously rank 9 at this point is really fringe and not really used anymore, but you get the point. As you may have also noticed, there is now a part where individual gear pieces are displayed, so it should be much easier to see which pieces should be equipped if any are left off, or how more complicated builds work, instead of just having to read through complicated text explaining all of that. And let's take a look at, for example, Vishizu here. For her, she really benefits from that because it's all much more obvious. For rank 9, she should have top right and bottom right all put on and at max refine, so 5, and all the other pieces of gear left off, if anyone even has that kind of build. And for rank 12, the mid right and bottom left gear pieces can all be safely equipped all the time without any negative consequences for any timelines. The mid left gear piece should always be left off, and all the other gear pieces can be equipped as needed without too many issues. So yeah, that's what these question marks mean, and the crosses. So in some cases there is TP gear that gives the maximum amount of TP stats at a lower than maximum refine. So for Yukari, for example, she has the armor piece that gives maximum TP boost at 4 refine, so those kinds of things are marked with a lower number than 5 for units where it applies, and also for units where it's actually important, because some DPS, they don't actually care whether it's max refined or not, so in those cases it's still at 5. But if you want to esports stuff like, for example, Kasumi, there the pieces are all marked. Bottom left gets the maximum amount of TP at 4 refine, but doesn't get any def stats, so it's also marked as 5. And mid left and top left obviously marked with lower numbers, because they do have defensive stats and gain all the TP they give at those lower refines. So that's the piece display. Hopefully it's fairly intuitive to everyone and helps with reading clarity and stuff like that. So anything else? Let's take a look. Description, I've tried to keep it a lot shorter now to make it more brief, but obviously some of the more complicated units just demand a larger, more in-depth description as to what's going on with them. So hopefully this new rework helps with readability and usability. In the coming days I will also add a separate tab here for mobile, where it's just super condensed and optimized for vertical, so that it's much easier to view on mobile, because I've noticed trying to read this sheet on my mobile phone is just hell, and it doesn't really look good. So hopefully I can alleviate that by a little bit by compressing all the important information down in a way that makes it much easier to view on phone. So that's that. Hopefully I didn't forget anything here, but if there's anything else, it's just in the wordy user guide. So let's now move on to the rank 13.3 gear update and batch 5 of UE. So for 13.3 there's a lot of marginal increases like usual. For example, if we start off with Rima here, for her rank 13 is just a very marginal increase to her effective tank stats because she kind of switches out some dodge for some actual PDEF and HP and some MDEF, but in general for her it's not really important to go up right now. It's really marginal. Same with Pudding, except for her it's a strictly better, or she is strictly better at rank 13 even if it's only marginal. Kuka, she can still stay at rank 12 because rank 12 is just a lot of TP boost for her. So until she gets the TP retain gear at least, she should stay there. For Jun, honestly her ideal rank should be 13.3, but for some CB players they might want to stay 11.6 so that they have the option of going, for example, to a naked rank 12 or almost naked rank 12 in case they need to reduce her tankiness for some timeline where it's important to get her UB out to block a mechanic with the shield. Kaori, fairly simple, 13.3 is more damage and that's what we want. New Year Ray, she should stay rank 12 at the moment because rank 13 is marginal in terms of tank stats, but a lot, or not really a lot, but -3 accuracy is noticeable since she doesn't have too much to begin with, so really shouldn't go down in there because there are cases where with the lost accuracy she's much more likely to completely whiff her UB on some units, and that's tragic. Pekko, she loses TP boost, and again tank stats increase is really marginal for her, so she should stay rank 12. Ruka, we've just had the main CB where she saw use, so for now it's pretty much possible to just go to whatever is needed for her each CB, and after CB 14, where her last main use at a 3 stars and lower rank is, she can probably also go up for PvP for those who want her, unless we find her use doing Crab CB where she was used alongside Kanna on CN, but that was with 5 stars, so probably shouldn't matter too much. So yeah, for her main builds are obviously, if you want to be super safe you can keep her R8 if you want, but there's no current known use for her at any time with that. R11, no matter what you do, just don't equip the mid-right if you still don't have it equipped, because that one adds enough dodge to push her over 30, so she will have dodge even after the CB15 accuracy update, which we really don't want. And obviously, if you just want to max her out, you can go R13.3 for PvP. Nozomi, again, it's a rank where she loses more accuracy with rank 13. So, yeah, because she doesn't really gain much tank stats, or actually she loses tank stats, so rank 12 is just better for her. And at this point I think rank 12 is also necessary for her, kind of, because she is quite a good main tank, especially on attack, if you have her UE unlocked and somewhat upgraded. So yeah, for her rank 12.6 it is, in my opinion. Muimi should stay rank 12. If she goes to rank 13, there's some cases where she could do slightly more damage, but the TP boost loss is just completely hampers her and makes it not function on some timelines, so stay rank 12 no matter what. For Makoto, I've kind of hinted at it earlier. Rank 9 is kind of an outdated thing now, even though it's got the very best TP boost still. It's just really not worth unless you're using a really fringe timeline that I'm not aware of. because the crit attached to higher ranks, 11 and especially 13, is just so much that her individual damage is boosted to a point where it outweighs any potential timing advantages that R9 could have. And the same is between R13 and R11, because rank 13 loses so little TP boost that in almost all cases where R11 works, R13 works even better and does a lot more damage. So at this point R11 should be relegated mainly to borrowing, and R9 there might be clans who decide they aren't even gonna keep a rank 9 Makoto in clan anymore, which in my opinion is fairly reasonable. I've kept mine 4-star rank 9 for the longest time and actually finally went up to rank 11 now, because in my opinion adjusting via stars for her is much better than adjusting with rank from now on, because you still get all the big crit stats and her personal damage, but are much more likely to, or have the ability to adjust her tackiness downward so she can hit better timing. So yeah, that's Makoto now. Expect to see most people at the max rank from now on, or whichever rank has more crit stats, because sometimes when changing ramps going up ranks, there's a possibility that she does lose crit, and in that case she should stay at the lower rank until then. But not this time, rank 13 is quite good. Which is also for New Yoshiori, she can just go to rank 13, it's better than rank 12. Akino, rank 13. Matsuri, rank 12, because rank 13 she loses a lot of TP boost, so she should stay there. We're kind of expecting her shots at some point, although they didn't hit the shop alongside the world update, so don't know what's going on there. Hopefully we get them soon so we can watch her spin, but yeah, she's kind of falling off already, so not sure how good she'll actually be, even with Yui. V Eriko, mostly going to be used at 13.3, but if yours is still 12.4, there is an option where that might be slightly better in terms of damage output, although much more risky, but yeah, the option is there. For X Ayane, 13.3 is most likely going to be the way to go for her, since it's a lot of TP boost. However, she does lose HP drain, so in some cases it might be possible that rank 12 could be more consistent or safer, but from all that I've seen, rank 13 should be the way to go for her. Tsumugi, yeah, minus 20 accuracy going to rank 13, so probably hold off on that. She does have a lot of accuracy in general, but the fact that she sometimes starts missing tanks at rank 13 probably isn't worth it yet, but at some points the extra crit and P attack and tank stats are gonna make it worth it, so she can go up, but not right now, it's just not worth it. Hyori, she loses damage when going to rank 13, so that's no bueno, but yeah, because she shouldn't be used at all in general, it's not worth it going to rank 13 anyway, unless you really love the fat cat, but in that case just use New Year Hyori. Misogi, 13.3. Ayane should stay rank 12. It's her best TP boost rank, so she really wants that, since her main appeal is the UB, but at some point she's gonna be forced up, potentially, and I haven't really seen many timelines where she is needed anyway, or optimal timelines where she's needed, that is. Tamaki, 2 TP boost doesn't seem like much, but from PvP mains I've heard that that's gonna kind of gimp her in some matchups where she's actually good in, so probably best to not do that. For Tomo, again one of those with minus 2 TP boost, but for her it completely bricks her for some timelines, so absolutely stay at rank 12 for now. For 5-star Tomo, it's most likely the gear doesn't matter, because she can't be used on the timeline where It's really crucial to have mid-left ungeared, but still, personally, to be safe, I'm just gonna leave it off. So yeah, stay rank 12, stay 12-5. Estama, same with 2 TP boost. She's gonna get enough levels to still hit all her best timings soon, but until then I think it's best to stay rank 12, but in any case she's one of those units that gets her timings most of the time anyway, especially in those cases where she is used. But the issue with her is it's not a question of can we use her if she works, as in like Shiori earlier, where she had to take some damage to get her UB timings. With Samatamaki it's just like a question of do we need a unit to TP drain, and in that case, those cases she should be used, so we should also make sure that she functions in those cases. So for now I think staying at rank 12 is the best option until she's actually used and has a timeline where it doesn't matter and we can go up. Eriko, rank 13-3 is just more damage, so that's what we want. As Peko, 10 accuracy loss. Again, she also has kind of good accuracy in general, but still this makes her miss some units from time to time, so for consistency's sake we do want to stay rank 12 for now. Kurumi. So thanks to most mages getting more TP boost now, she can go to the full rank 12 gear and still function in H. Misaki cannon in most cases, but again, if you use some of those units that still have lower TP boost than she does, it's better to leave the top right axe unequipped to give her lower TP boost than the third position unit and make Yukari TP boost the correct unit. Other than that, 13-3 is just a TP boost loss, so let's not go there yet. For Jita, it's a really slight TP boost loss, -3 from going R12 or R13, but for CB15, especially now that we know we probably get her UE for it, it's really critical to make sure she functions for that, and it's a multi-target, or the first multi-target CB, where she is going to be used for some multi-target timelines, and she does require this extra 3 TP boost from rank 11 to get an early UB and break a multi-target target. I'll probably put it in a video explaining that when we get to it, but for now just know, don't build her or absolutely leave her at rank 11, because that's what she needs for those timelines, or that one timeline. Rei should stay rank 12 for now. She can eventually go up when the damage outweighs the chance of losing the first early UB, but at the moment Rei is mainly used as a shredder, so what we do want is that as many times as possible she can get the early UB, so where she can cancel her counter slash off as possible, and for that rank 12 is best, and we can kind of afford to miss out on some damage for that. Shizuru, purely up to preference in my opinion. She loses 3 accuracy, but she doesn't have that much to begin with, so for her it's just a question of whether you value slight amount of damage and tank stats or the accuracy for her. So in any case it's marginal, so probably best to just leave her at rank 12 for now. Chrissy, she gains an enormous amount of damage with rank 13. It was already kind of big with 12-5, but now it's even more. So I think most Chrissies want to be 13-3 and 11-6 maybe for a burrow if you do that, but in general I think 13-3 is just the way to go, because almost all the time, or for every single timeline I've seen so far that I'm going to use, 13-3 has worked, and in those cases where 11-6 is a consideration, it is possible to burrow her. So yeah, for her most likely most people are going to have rank 13, but anyway, since she's a CB unit it's probably best to just leave her as is until CB. Kurumi, rank 11. Mimi, yeah, she loses accuracy and TP boost, so should stay rank 12 for now, but until her UE comes, it's probably going to be a higher rank. So, not really sure on that though, so hang on to that. Shinobu should still stay rank 11, not really because of the TP boost, but because for Minotaur, so next CB is going to be Minotaur as boss 5, and C5 requires some rather strict tankiness on Skull Daddy. So again, notice, please for 5-star leave skill level 1 at 108 or lower, because otherwise she won't be usable in the main timelines for Minotaur. Vishizu, I expect most people are at rank 12 now, because that's her main uses, and the few times where rank 9 is viable, it's a very marginal damage increase over rank 12. So for rank 12, probably just leave her at whatever she was at last CB, because from my understanding she works with that for next CB as well, but don't be afraid to move her up, because 12.5 without midlift is probably going to be the standard sooner or later once everyone has used her on a timeline where that's required. Mahiro, rank 12. Yukari, she should now be rank 12. It's her best TP boost, so she's going to stay there long term, even until 6-star, so we're now seeing where on CN they have her 6-star, although in some cases she still stays 5-star to generate more TP from damage. But in any case, Yukari should be rank 12 now. If you want to Giga Min Max, you can do only mid-right at 4-star refine, but all the other gear can be generally equipped without issue. From what I've been told, rank 12.6 is the normal thing to keep her at, especially when she is tanking, and all the other adjusts can be done by level or stars, as in not ascending her to 6-star. Monica, rank 10, again, like someone else up here, Mimi, she loses accuracy and TP boost, so for her it's rank 12 still. Ninon, it's a question of whether you value consistency with high accuracy, since she loses some with rank 13, or raw damage output, since rank 13 is a noticeable increase to her damage. So yeah, just purely preference. Personally, I'm going to keep her at rank 12 for now. Mifuyu, rank 12. Ilya, absolutely rank 12, especially for CB15, because for that, rank 13 is very suicidal. So for now, rank 12 with mid-lift at whatever you've left her at. I think mid-lift with 0 refine is a really common thing for her, so that's probably the way to go. Saren, another one, loses accuracy and TP boost, so rank 12. Anna, rank 13. She luckily doesn't care about incoming damage or TP boost or any of that, so she can just look for raw damage, and that's rank 13. H. Shinobu loses accuracy. Going from rank 11 to rank 12 was a slight accuracy loss as well, where she kind of became a little bit inconsistent against rank 12 Pudding, but rank 13 actually pushes her to the point where she misses against some other tanks as well. So for now I think it's better to stay at rank 12, but rank 13 eventually just gives so much crit and raw damage that she should move up, because even missing 1 or 2 hits on tanks is still worth it. As Mifuyu, rank 13. Kokoro still stay wherever she was, and if yours is 10.6, do not increase her level above 121. I think the max is 123 for CB19, but still best to just leave her as is, and obviously don't level her UE. Ayumi, if you're one of the few who is going to spend almost 2k DA on her, then you probably have some idea of how to use her, because otherwise it's just not worth building her anyway. But yeah, rank 11 or rank 13 are the main options, depending on which one you want. 11 for higher TP boost, 13 for better tankiness and all that good shit. So yeah. Grea loses TP retain with rank 13, and the TP boost doesn't really make up for it because she's one of those mages who does use UB quite a lot when she gets going. So for her, I think rank 12 is better. Not sure whether she's ever going to be used in CB, I don't think so, but for PvP at least I can see her being quite useful with her invincibility, since it does line up with some critical abilities from time to time, and in those cases she can just destroy some opponents. As Kokoro can just stay wherever she is at the moment. For CB15 she can probably gear her boots finally, but in any case she's not really all super, or she isn't used all that much, but she is still going to be used from time to time. At least one timeline every CB, I think. Rin is going to see use for CB15. In PvP she's quite good, but at the moment she should still just stay at rank 10 because that's where you can make the most damaging timelines for CB15, although 13-4 is going to be good TP stats as well, and it's not too much damage loss, but still should stay rank 10 at least until then, and after that she can probably go up. Mitsuki, one of those loses accuracy and TP boost, so should stay rank 12. Akari, if yours is still rank 11 after this CB, then congratulations, but most I think that are going to be in active use are going to go up to 13-3 and are also going to level up her UE, because that's what's necessary for making her tank, and that's also what she's mainly going to be used for in the near future, which is just her as a tank for high damage encounters in mage teams where you don't actually use a dedicated tank. We don't have Okuka yet, and even after we get Okuka there are some cases where you want Akari instead. So that's why I assume most are going to go up and end up at rank 14 eventually, but if you can keep yours rank 11, might be worth it in case you want to have esports Akari for 6-star later on. Yori, she loses some TP retain with rank 13, actually quite a lot compared to how much TP boost she gains, but with how she works and how her TP values work out, this doesn't really matter. She still gets her UBs at the same actions, and sometimes the first UB can actually come out one action earlier depending on damage taken, especially when she's in a comp where, for example with Lima, she gets into range of H Shinobu and takes a cleave or two, then she can get her first UB out earlier, but for the subsequent ones it doesn't really matter. Yeah, her raw damage just increases with rank 13, so that's what I'm recommending for her. H Pudding loses 20 accuracy, and I didn't really think much of it, but it does pose an issue where she might lose, or the loss to effective DPS actually does mean that she has issues cleaning up some fights when it's back to front and the tank is left in the end. She might actually just cause some tragic losses at rank 13 where she misses multiple times on her UB, and let's avoid that, so keep her rank 12 in my opinion. For Arisa, rank 13 is just better. She does lose a little bit of TP boost, but it doesn't really matter because her timings are all consistent now. Her level is high enough that the TP gain from her TP charge is good enough, although she isn't really used much, like mainly for her position, so for those cases it's good to still have her, but she's not really as crucial as she used to be now. Anne is going to come out hopefully before next CB, because it means we can actually use mages instead of sidelining them until phase 3 and only coping with them with subpar damage. But if we do get her, it's going to be quite good, because mages can almost keep up with physical and actually exceed physical in some cases, so it's kind of where mages can make a comeback a little bit. For her, she really relies on her UB, because what happens is her S2 or S1, I don't recall which one of her skills is a buff that applies a seal to all units, and if you use her UB while that buff is active, you get an extra M attack buff on everyone. So it's really important that she hits her timings, because otherwise she can kind of just fall apart, because she has to wait a long time until her next buff applies to use her UB. So for her, it's one of those cases where mid left and bottom left on gear on her should be left unequipped until absolutely sure those can be safely equipped, because I've already seen timelines where at 4 stars she needs mid left and bottom left both unequipped to hit timings properly at max level. So that's a thing. Other than that, she's just rank 12. Rank 13 is probably borrow only. So yeah. Ru, this is not a joke. She was used on multiple optimal timelines now. So once we get her, ideally just farm her enough shards for 4 star or at least 3 star and icebox her until she's actually used. So yeah, that's Ru. Pretty funny that she's actually going to be a top tier unit for some timelines. Reno, rank 13, loses another little bit of TP boost compared to rank 11 and rank 12, but doesn't really matter. She generally hits all her timings and the raw damage output is good enough. Sutuna, same thing, although she's just not good at all anymore. Shiori, as well, she's usually more sensitive to TP boost changes, but she now gets her UE, and this triple S rating on her stats here means she does get P attack, P crit, and most importantly TP boost, and that alongside with the fact that she has 2 skills that actually increase her TP. She's going to be one of the better long-term DPS, since she only gets better as time goes on, and she generates more TP with her skills, and we also get more TP generators, so look forward to that. She is going to be a beast, and yeah, not much more to say. She can go rank 13, finally back in use, and another really good DPS for us. Io, with her UE, she's actually going to be quite good again. Not really super game changing, but she's kind of gets a glimpse back at her glory days, where she could be used on defenses and just stall out opponents in disgusting fashion with RNG and stuff like that. So for her, it's 13-3. It's still a lot of TP retain lost compared to rank 11 where she was previously, but she actually gets enough TP boost to kind of make up for it and push out her first UB out early enough now. Yeah, she kind of also needs the raw damage just to push through some of these mage shields. So there's quite a lot of units where if Yukari shield is applied at rank 13 she can break through that, but at rank 11 she couldn't, so it's good enough for me. And yeah, Suzume, rank 12. Kasumi, just for CB, do the esports build and don't touch her after that. If you want to use her for PvP, there's some whispers that rank 12 is good, so I've put it up here, which is just rank 12 everything max and 5 star. Misato, she finally gets her UE as well now. For her, it's ideally you want to leave her at rank 11, but in some cases rank 12 is necessary. Just depends on which timelines you use. Ideally we'd want to preserve rank 11, but rank 12 might be just necessary in some cases. Also be prepared, high level on her UE might be necessary for some timelines, so save some shots for that. Good thing she's just a very good unit in general and used for a long time, so yeah, worth it anyway. Nanaka kind of fell off, but has some uses in PvP every now and then. She loses a little bit of TP retain, but it's not much compared to the TP boost she gains and also the raw damage she gains, so for her it's 13-3. Anyway, just leave as is. If you go to rank 12, ideally you would want to have top right and bottom right equipped only, but mine, for example, has bottom left as well for one timeline, which was where it was somewhat necessary for my sanity. But other than that, just most people should just leave her rank 11, where she's used the most for those CB timelines, especially next CB. Kyaru, for her, she loses TP retain, gains TP boost, doesn't really matter. For the way she's used in PvP at least, it's better to have her at rank 13 with the increased damage output and early first TUB. Hatsune, nice enough, gains almost as much TP boost as she loses TP retain, and for her TP retain doesn't matter anyway, or doesn't matter as much anyway, so rank 13 it is. Misaki, rank 13 as well. Ex-Chika, just don't touch her. As Suzume, don't touch her until she's used. There is a timeline or multiple timelines where she may see use if we get Anne for next CB, so in those cases build her just however she needs to be built for that if she does see use, and for PvP rank 12 as well. As Kyaru, probably gonna be rank 12 just for safety's sake, because the TP retain loss makes it very likely that in rank 13 she loses timings, and obviously mid left, if it's still off for you, just leave it off until you're absolutely sure all timelines function with it off as well. For Aoi, she gets her UE now, and this is very nice because as soon as she uses her skill 1 on a unit that's already poisoned, it's gonna do an immediate chunk and also do like, I don't know, multiple thousands of damage per second toxic without accounting for defense. So all those stall comps, or especially Pekko main tank comps, just melt away to Aoi because she's the major stall killer and tank melter as long as she can get her skill 1 out in time for her poison not to run out. And by the way, the poison on her skill 1 gets upgraded in terms of duration, so it lasts 24 seconds I think, instead of the standard 8 that it did before. So that's nice and helps a lot with getting the toxic trigger. And for her it's rank 12 because 7 accuracy loss and TP boost loss isn't worth it for the raw damage. For her it's just important to have consistency and just hit the enemies with skill 1 and to survive. Chika, icebox her until for now, or there's some loop comps where she's useful and some rather specific other ones as well, so better to just leave her as it is for now. Maho just the same, ideally just leave her completely as is. If you do have to build her for PvP for some reason, ideally you want to have her rank 11 and all gear equipped. This also goes for PvP mains because later with 6 stars you do want to have rank 12 with early little gear, so she can trigger her first UB ASAP and kind of go into those Maho UB loops as soon as possible, which is going to be quite disgusting when it happens. Yui, I think a lot of people build her to do the EX cheese. For that I think rank 12 with top right and mid right equipped is the way to go. Other than that, just don't touch her as well for 6 star. Yuki, this one is kind of funny because he just loses 5 TP retain without getting any TP boost at rank 13. So yeah, normally it wouldn't really matter because his UB doesn't really do much anyway, but it does cause some timing issues from time to time, so better to just not go up yet until there's some actual benefit to it. But yeah, rank 12 for now. Kyoka as well, she really does need rank 12 at the moment, and she also really wants the mid left piece left off. I'm not sure how autistic we're gonna get with the gear and level adjustments next CB, but better safe than sorry, especially if you're... or with any stars. You never know with Kyoka whether it's gonna be 4-star or 5-star or both of them, which needs like this weird gear build with also levels and stuff like that. So yeah, for her, just 12-5 in my opinion. H. Misaki, she can finally move up without gimping her cannon comp, so rank 12 and rank 13 both have enough TP boost that the Yukari and Yuki boosts go on the correct units now. So she can just move up to rank 13 and also get the necessary damage increase for her to function. Kind of like with Io, where she just needs damage to punch through shields. Especially since in some cases she wasn't even able to get through New Year Ray shields with her UB, so that's kind of really nice that she can do that now. So yeah, that's it for ranks. Some stuff to finish off. I want to thank Daza and Mars for helping me, or Daza for helping me with the gear guide. Very helpful in terms of design and readability, and Mars for the great idea with how to do these individual gear pieces which he used on his gear recommendations. So yeah, that's actually finally it from me. I hope everyone enjoys the new content and more content from me to come as well. That mobile version hopefully as soon as possible, Lunar Tower guide when I get to it. And yeah, have a nice day. Goodbye.